evening, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Money Means Business. Today, I am Lubna Yahya going to present to you this episode, and we are going to be discussing several issues and matters regarding economy and business. Starting off with the most significant issue, it's President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi's three-leg European trip that aims to upgrade the relations and promote investments. On Saturday, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi began a European tour to Denmark, Norway and Ireland, and the first time he has visited any of these countries since coming to power. Adding the agenda during the first two legs of the trip reflected in meetings and statements included promoting Egypt as an investment destination. He also strengthened the bilateral ties and exchanging views on recent international developments. Addressing the Danish officials and representatives of the business community, President El-Sisi said a series of regional and international challenges had prompted the Egyptian government to foster an environment conducive to attracting foreign investments, empowering the private sector and creating job opportunities. He underlined how, as a result of this reforms taken, economic indicators had improved along with Egypt's credit rating. We're going to see more about that in the next report.
President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi made a European tour that included visits to three major European Union countries, Denmark, Norway and Ireland. The President's European tour is an important step to enhance economic and investment relations between Egypt and the European Union countries. It also reflects Egypt's keenness to consolidate international partnerships in light of global economic challenges and seeks to attract more investments to support the Egyptian economy. The tour included important meetings with leaders of European countries, enhancing Egypt's position as a major economic and investment hub in the region. Europe is one of Egypt's main economic partners, as such visits contribute to enhancing cooperation in vital areas such as industry, technology, renewable energy and transportation. President El-Sisi's European tour aims to attract more foreign direct investment, especially in the sectors of infrastructure, transportation and the green economy. This visit also aims to enhance trade exchange between Egypt and the European Union countries, which supports Egyptian exports and opens new markets for national products. Dr. Hassan Salama, professor of political science, said that President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi's European tour was a great success and of great importance. The choice of the three countries, Denmark, Norway and Ireland, was not in vain, as it is the first visit of an Egyptian president to these countries, noting that the warm reception of President El-Sisi reflects the appreciation of the leaders of these countries for Egypt and the political leadership. He added that President El-Sisi's European tour has an economic dimension that refers to what is known as development diplomacy, as the President adopts this approach by opening up investment horizons, whether Arab or foreign, explaining that President El-Sisi's meetings with company presidents, executives and economic drivers in the three countries were largely indicative of this matter. During his visit to Denmark, the President and the King of Denmark launched the Business Council between two countries in the presence of a number of businessmen and CEOs of a number of Egyptian and Danish companies. The President explained that the launch of the Egyptian-Danish Business Council and the consensus that prevailed in the talks with the King of Denmark and with the CEOs of the largest Danish companies operating in Egypt reflects a firm belief in the importance of continuing to strengthen bilateral relations, especially in the economic and investment fields. in light of the enormous potential and opportunities available to Egypt and Denmark. Dr. Hassan Salama, professor of political science, stressed that the formation of the Egyptian-Danish Business Council is a starting point for Danish economic and commercial entities to learn about the investment potential available in Egypt, especially in the sectors of infrastructure, communications and information technology, manufacturing industries, and the production of clean and renewable green energy, in support of the efforts of the Egyptian state to be a regional center for supply chains and the transfer and trading of renewable and green energy, in light of the geographical proximity and strategic location of Egypt, in addition to the opportunities provided by the attractive areas for investment, such as the Suez Canal Economic Zone. Adding that President el-Sisi's visit to Denmark yielded positive results, as the strategic partnership agreement was signed, which means opening up non-traditional horizons and areas for cooperation between the two countries. During his second tour, which included Norway, he met with the CEO of the Norwegian company Scatec, the CEO of the Norwegian Investment Fund in developing countries, and the CEO of the Norwegian company Yara. The meeting witnessed a review of the ambitious economic development program implemented by Egypt, with an emphasis on empowering the private sector, attracting more foreign direct investment to Egypt, in addition to supporting foreign companies operating in Egypt. The meeting also discussed opportunities for cooperation with the Norwegian Investment Fund, as well as expanding the projects of the companies Scatec and Yara in Egypt, and the latest developments in existing projects and ways to enhance them. Engineer Ahmed Taysir, Secretary of Economic Affairs at the Homeland Defenders Party, said that President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi's visit to Norway represents a great economic feasibility, as it contributes to opening markets for Egyptian products and attracting new capital to invest in Egypt and invest in the infrastructure and economic reforms that Egypt has implemented over the past years. President el-Sisi also met with the Prime Minister of Norway. The meeting witnessed an emphasis on the importance of working to advance economic trade and investment relations, as well as enhancing cooperation at the level of the business sector and chambers of commerce and industry, in addition to raising the level of trade exchange between the two countries. During his recent tour in Europe, President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi met with the Irish Prime Minister. The meeting discussed the need to take tangible steps to benefit from Irish technological expertise in the sectors of industry and communications, agriculture, and the environment. It is worth noting that President el-Sisi's European tour aims to open new investment areas, strengthen partnerships with European Union countries, and create a balance in Egypt's relations with some European countries. MP Shayma Mahmoud Nabil, a member of the House of Representatives, confirmed that President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi's European tour will have fruitful results in achieving economic partnerships and enhancing investments in Egypt, especially in these current circumstances, noting that Egypt has an infrastructure and legislation that has made it attractive to investments, especially foreign ones. She pointed out that these visits come within Egypt's ambitious vision to expand the base of its strategic partnerships with international powers in a way that enhances national interests and supports comprehensive development plans. She stressed that Europe is a key partner for Egypt, whether in the field of trade and investment or in coordination on international issues such as the food and energy crisis and climate change. The European tour aims to review Egypt's economic opportunities, especially after the major industrial, agricultural, and logistical renaissance, which made it a promising market for investment by European Union countries. The President's meetings with major international companies and foreign investors will also open the door to new investment opportunities in Egypt and enhance the flow of foreign investments.
Welcome back, our dear viewers. We're going to continue our episode now. In light of the European tour that our President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi is currently doing and the economic boost that Egypt is expecting, we have my dear guest, Dr. Mohamed Roshdy, an economic and banking expert, and he's going to enlighten us a lot more on the current matters. Hello, Dr. Mohamed.
Hello.
How are you doing?
And our audience. And I would like to thank you and the program team for this kind invitation.
Thank you so much. We're very glad to have you with us in our studio today. We'd like to first start off about asking you about the tour that the President is currently doing. How do you think it is currently contributing to the promotion of Egypt as an investment destination?
When you are talking about the European tour, it comes to top of my mind that Egypt is returning back to play its historical role, especially on the Middle East, Africa, Europe, to have one of the most important things, strategic partnerships, and it's I can call it it's one of the most challenging things. I would like to start to answer your question eventually by one of the famous quotes for one of the philosophers, Heraclitus, that we are the only constant in the life is a change. Accordingly, we are in a metaphorically we are in a dynamic world. This dynamic world, it should make us think out of the box and doing different things to have a great partnerships with Europe and a lot of African countries and globally. This is positively reflect our economy and the strategic vision for President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and the government to return back to play our historical role positively will impact our GDP structure. I would like to start from the one of the most important things to simplify to our audience our GDP structure. As you know, and our audience, simply the GDP structure consists of three main parts: the agricultural part and the industrial part, and the third one, which is the service part. As you know, one of the most important things, which is currently all the developed countries are focusing on it, which is the service part. A lot of people asking me why the service part, because the service part has the highest added value. Accordingly, if you would like to have what we are calling it a quick win for the economy, we have to focus on this part. And currently, the service part, including the most important and the significant thing, which is the digital part. Everything on this part positively will reflect the economy, and we are doing the strategic partnership actually to get more FDI, to get the know-how of this part, and to return back to the GDP structure. The second point, which is the industrial part, which is quite important to focus on it, and it's help on a lot of things. To have local components on our industries, and it helped us to decrease the unemployment rate. As far as I recall, the unemployment rate, it was 13.5% as far as I recall in 2013, and nowadays it's more or less 6.5%. Can you imagine?
Much less.
It's almost 50%. Accordingly, this is what we are calling it. We are being the fruits of the economic reform, and the third one of our GDP structure, to return back to our point, which is the agricultural part. It's one of the most important things. It's what we are calling it. It's the security part, which is, I can say it on another term, that if we are not owning our food, we are not owning our decision. And our strategic Egypt strategic vision and the President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and government to work on our GDP structure to have the economic reform. To return back to our point, which is the most important thing, the last visit for President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, we have a lot of agreements and partnerships that positively will reflect our GDP growth. This is one of the most important things. But let me say it loudly, it's not just for sake of Egypt, it's a mutual benefit. Why it's a mutual benefit? For the European countries, a lot of people can say, what you are saying, it's a mutual benefit, we are taking the know-how. No, we are not just taking the know-how and the FDI. We can't say it. They are calling Africa and Egypt youth continent or youth country. Actually, if we go for the European countries, they are calling, or the European continent, they are calling the elder continent. Actually, why they are saying that? If you are taking the pyramid of age for Egypt or Africa, you can see like 60 to 70% from the total population are youth. And if you go for the European countries, you can see this pyramid of ages is inverted. Actually, the European countries, they have a lot of commodities. They would like to have the market for it. For that reason, there's a partnership, especially, it should be a partnership. For this reason, I'm calling it, it's a mutual benefit for both of countries, actually. And if you go back to our country, and we are being the fruits of this, or I believe that we will be the fruits of this visit. Actually, Egypt has an ambitious plan concerning bringing FDI. Accordingly, one of the most important things to bring FDI, actually, the government is doing a smart thing, and we can see the government that there is a great synergy between all sectors. You can see that Minister of Investment and the entire ministry, actually, they are doing a great things. They are giving tax incentives for almost all companies, foreign companies that they would like to bring their investments and invest in Egypt. They are giving them, actually, like, as far as I recall, 60% tax incentive, and at the same time, the smart thing, which is Minister of Investments and the Minister of Finance, you can see that they are giving the tax incentives with one condition, that you have to have, like, as far as I recall, 60% of our ingredients or the components of the manufacturing.
Local products.
Thank you, local products. And this cycle will help us to decrease the unemployment rate, actually, a lot focusing on what we are calling it SMEs, small and medium enterprises. And this is, in my humble opinion, one of the most crucial things. To be honest with you and our audience, we are not inventing the wheel. We are doing the best pacts. If you can see a lot of pacts globally, that a lot of developed countries build their success story based on the SMEs. For that reason, the last visit will help us to bring more FDI, to have strategic partnerships, to open a lot of, to open a new market for us, especially for exporting a lot of commodities, despite the fact President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has an ambitious plan concerning exporting our commodities to reach, as far as I recall, $100 billion. Can you imagine? This is one of the most important things. In another term, if we would like to recap things, you can see for the first time that all sectors are working in a homogeneous way, or there's a great harmony between all of them, the all ministries and the private sector, to enhance our GDP structure and increasing or providing a lot of opportunities for the new generation. Especially, I'm saying that Egypt, they are calling it a youth country, because our pyramid of ages is from, as far as I recall, from 60 to 70% are youth, and those, in my humble opinion, are the assets of any countries, the manpower, the youth. Accordingly, you can see that all sectors are working to achieve our ambitious plan concerning or implement 2030 vision.
Mohamed, that's quite incredible and surprising information. I did not believe that the numbers are quite different, and the good change in numbers is absolutely what the President is working for. However, we're going to carry on this conversation right after our short break. Welcome back, our dear viewers, from our short break. We're going to carry on our conversation with Dr. Mohamed Roshdy, the economy and banking expert. Welcome back, Dr. Mohamed. We're going to carry on this conversation. I'd like to ask you first about the current tour the President is making. He started off with the Scandinavian countries. It's kind of the first time an Egyptian president makes a visit to these countries. Why do you think it's very significant at this time, and how is it going to affect the economy and the ties between the countries in the future?
In my humble opinion, this is one of the most important visits to start, and I believe that President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi is giving positive signals to the globe that I believe that from since a lot of years ago that there is any visit for any Egyptian president for Scandinavian countries. I believe he started with it to give a positive signal messages that Egypt is working with the globe to have what we are calling it partnerships, strategic partnerships, and doing what I was discussing, the mutual benefit, exchanging knowledge, exchanging commodities, and Egypt is hoping to have a global integration with all countries, and we are giving positive signals to the globe that Egypt is building the new republic, focusing on all the globe, all the countries, to work with them in a smooth way and removing any barriers and opening new markets. This is one of the most important things, to open a new market for Egypt, especially with our ambitious plan to reach $100 billion exports. Actually, this is one of the most new, what we are calling it, it's I believe it's a virgin market for Egypt to export a lot of commodities, and this is considered one of the most important things. I believe those countries, there is no president since a long time visited it.
The Scandinavian countries.
Yes. Accordingly, this is a positive message to the globe that Egypt is building a new republic, actually, that focusing on have a strategic partnerships, and you can see this is easily that reflected on a lot of things. The new role, or returning back, to be honest, to playing our strategic role on the Middle East, which is positively reflected on a lot of things. One of the most important things, which is the BRICS. You can see for the first time a lot, one of the most important countries that the BRICS invited to join, which is Egypt. And this is, in my humble opinion, will be one of the most significant and strongest alliances in the near future.
That's
and
true.
They are talking about the strategic initiatives or strategic plans that they would like to achieve it. One of the most important things, to have a currency, to exchange commodities, removing what we are calling it tax barrier, or any additional fees or any additional charges between those countries, and to have a unified currency. Can you imagine this? How will facilitate the trade between those countries, and will make a strategic partnership or a strategic alliance, in another term, to face a lot of the challenges that, as I told you, that a lot of the challenges that we are facing nowadays, especially we are in a, what we are calling it, in a world that the only constant is the change. Dynamic, in another term, dynamic world. Accordingly, this partnership will help us and will help a lot of countries
create the change that we need.
Yes. In addition to, will help us to achieve our dream, which is Vision 2030. And in another, one of the most important things, in my humble opinion, that this Vision 2030, to have a sustainable economy, sustainability in general, one of the most crucial things to have a sustainable economy. Political, the main pillar to build any country, which is, in my humble opinion, stable, political stability, in addition to strong economy, in addition to investing on manpower. And you can see nowadays that our President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi and the government and all sectors, and for the first time private sectors, are working with the government to achieve our dream. And the government is facilitating a lot of things. And those three main pillars, the first one, which is
the political pillar.
The political pillar, which is one of the most important things. You can see nowadays we are being the fruit of it. Especially, we are in a world that is dynamic, and there are a lot of wars nowadays. You can see. and a lot of the challenges started from the pandemic, and after that the Ukrainian and
the Middle
Russian
East war.
Yes, before the Middle East war, actually there's a Ukrainian and Russian war, which is negatively impact a lot of things, which is I can say it in another way, in an economic view, which is lead to a global inflation wave, because as you know, and our audience, Russia and Ukraine, actually they are contributing, as far as I recall, in that time with 30% from wheat. In addition to they are one of the most important countries that are exporting oil to the European countries. Accordingly, it leads to the global inflation wave, and we are not nowadays living separately. Any change in any country affects the other.
It affects all the countries.
It looks like a small village.
Globalism.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So I've noticed in the European tour that the president's currently doing, they are focusing heavily on the green energy and renewable energy. They just want to change all the energy sources from the traditional fuel to the green kind of energy. What's your comments on this, and could you please tell us more about it?
I believe this is one of the most important things and smartest way to cope with the new world, actually. As you know, and our audience nowadays, that the resources actually are limited, and the alternative for that, which is to work on the renewable energy. In addition to, we have a global, actually you can see that the temperature is changing and a lot of countries, and the best solution for this is to decrease the pollution, or what we are calling it the
climate change.
The climate change, and what we are calling it the finger footprint, actually, to help on have a clean environment. And I recall one of the most important quotes to keep the earth, that for our actually children, that the quote, as far as I recall, that we are not we didn't inherit the earth from our ancestors, we are lending or borrowing the earth from our children. Accordingly, we have to keep it.
We have to take care of it.
Thank you. To deliver it for our children in a proper way that can help them to develop and to have a lot of things and live on the earth. Accordingly, focusing on what we are calling it the climate change and sustainability and everything, this is one of the most important things. And to have a significant things, I would like to, actually your question is quite good, you hit a nerve in terms of sustainability, and the globe is admitting nowadays that Egypt has a significant toll on this. And as far as I recall, it was a crystal clear message to the globe that Egypt has a positive impact on this, that Egypt hosted, as far as I recall, COP27.
Yes.
Accordingly, this is a quite or crystal clear message to the globe that Egypt has a significant impact on our climate change.
Yes. Well, currently the president had toured in Ireland, Denmark, Norway. These countries, cooperation with them, it's going to add a lot. In terms of the green hydrogen, how do you evaluate Egypt's efforts in the recent years in that specific field?
Actually, Egypt has a significant impact on this, and we have actually ambitious plan in this part. In addition to a lot of parts, I recalled one of one of my international friends. He's saying that I couldn't imagine that one of the developing countries like Egypt is working on a lot of things: sustainability, investing in people, investing that our assets, working on sustainability, working on education, working on healthcare, to have national health system unified for all the Egyptian, in addition to increasing the budget of education. This international trend is saying that the President of Sisi or the government, we are, as an Egypt, in terms of Egypt, we have the magic stick that we are working on a lot of initiatives at the same time or in parallel. Accordingly, I believe that Egypt will be one of the most significant economies that will have a positive contribution, and in terms of the economic part and returning back to playing our historical role, this positively will change the Middle East and will have a significant impact in terms of manufacturing, in terms of working on the service part, in terms of one of the most important things, in my humble opinion, that we are doing a great infrastructure. You can see every day, you can see that a new bridge is opened, electric station,
Lots of commercial
water station,
businesses are being opened.
housing, a lot of initiatives. This is one of the most important things. Why?
true.
Because if I'm an investor, when I'm doing my, or I'm in another term, I put my money in any country I would like to, or I would like to invest. One of the most important things that I have to check this country in terms of political stability, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of economic part, in terms of a lot of things. And this is what we are calling it the competitiveness report. This is one of the global reports that a lot of ministers are working on it to have a good rank in terms of the competitiveness report. And as far as I recall, Egypt jumped on this report actually to have a great position, and this possibly sorry, and this positively impact the economy. And I believe that the GDP growth will have in the coming years a great growth, and those initiatives, what we are calling it, we are being the fruits of the economic reform.
Dr. Mohamed, in light of the events happening right now in Syria, what is the Egyptian economy going to anticipate? Is there going to be any kind of like effect on the Egyptian economy? Like, I'd like to know your opinion and your anticipations on this matter.
To be honest with you and our audience, as I told before, that we are in a small village.
Yes.
It's not
We're not living alone.
Yes, the reflection of what is happening actually in Syria or other countries, it will reflect on our economy and the all countries' economies. But if we have a solid and strong economy that build on manufacturing and the added value services, and the most important thing is to diversify your investments. ABC investments, you have to diversify your portfolio. On another term, don't put all the eggs
In one pot.
Thank you. Accordingly, we have a lot of initiatives or focusing on a lot of projects, the mega projects, and doing initiatives for exports, doing strategic partnerships, returning back to playing our historical role, investing in people, education, increasing the budget of education, doing the national health system, doing a lot of initiatives. Those things and working on a lot of industries will help us to let the impact of those whatever happening around us
will not directly affect our economy because we are building a strong economy and infrastructure.
And diversified economy.
Yes.
For that reason, I believe that we have a strategic vision, and nowadays you can see easily that the President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has a strategic vision, and in addition to the government is having this strategic vision to diversify our projects in a proper way to mitigate what we are calling it, mitigate the risk of unexpected events or wars or anything.
That's true. Thank you so much, Dr. Mohamed. You've enlightened us a lot more on the current economic situation and what we could anticipate in the future. We had with us Dr. Mohamed Roshdy, the economy and banking expert, and this brings us to the end of our episode. We're going to be looking at a short report, but don't forget to stay tuned on Now TV International, and thank you for watching.
The Giza Pyramids area is one of the most prominent archaeological landmarks in the world, attracting millions of tourists annually, which enhances its position as one of the most important tourist attractions in the country, with the aim of supporting the Giza Pyramids and the Grand Egyptian Museum. Earlier in 2024, a group of luxury hotels announced their plans to establish new hotels in West Giza, where the first of these hotels has already opened a few weeks ago. Minister of Finance revealed that the joint committees, whose members represent a number of governmental and regulatory agencies, have so far received 19,717 violators of the rules for importing cars for people with disabilities who wish to voluntarily regularize their status, and more than £2.4 billion have been collected, adding that it has been confirmed that there are large numbers of undeserving people who obtain them without right, and a number of procedures have been implemented towards them, which contributes to paying the state's dues. Lieutenant General Osama Rabia, chairman of the Suez Canal Authority, inspected a number of work sites affiliated with the authority in Port Said Governorate, including the Port Said Naval Arsenal, which is witnessing for the first time the process of building and manufacturing the bow of a ship according to international standards. As Lieutenant General Osama was briefed on the rates of completion of the process of manufacturing the onion bow of one of the ships, where this locally manufactured part weighs a total of 110 tons. Lieutenant General Engineer Kamil El-Wazir, Deputy Prime Minister for Industrial Development, Minister of Industry and Transport, witnessed the signing of a joint financing contract between 3 banks and the Egyptian National Company for Railway Industries, SAE, stressing that the project is a model of successful and effective partnership between government agencies and the private sector, and it also demonstrates the seriousness of the economic zone steps in localizing the transportation industry in Egypt. A source said that there is a definite desire from 5 of the largest Turkish companies operating in the textile industry to move and work from Egypt, explaining that Turkey's exports of ready-made clothing amount to $25 billion annually, and this is an advantage that Egypt needs, and that 75% of its exports depend on the European market, indicating that the goal of Turkish clothing factories in moving to Egypt is to expand to the American, Arab and African markets. According to data from the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, FAO, Egypt ranks 5th in the world in the production and cultivation of tomatoes and tomato drying stations, have flourished in recent years with the aim of exporting them abroad, and this project has succeeded in providing many job opportunities for young people after dried tomato products invaded most of the markets of the European Union countries and some Middle Eastern countries. Global Investment Bank Goldman Sachs expects the Egyptian pound to rise against the dollar by early 2025 as the wave of hot money outflows driven by seasonal reasons and profit-taking subsides. The chief economist at Goldman Sachs indicates that the performance of the Egyptian pound is being closely monitored by investors seeking high returns and by the International Monetary Fund, which wants the currency to accurately reflect supply and demand. Dr. Mustafa Madbouli, Prime Minister, inaugurated the activities of the Our Heritage 2024 exhibition for handicrafts and heritage products, stressing that the Our Heritage exhibition is an important forum for marketing handicrafts and heritage products, and that the regular holding of the Our Heritage exhibition comes as it plays an effective role in supporting projects and exchanging experiences between manufacturers and innovators, creating job opportunities and developing administrative, technical and operational skills.